Surely he shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence.
Well, didn't he deliver Israel from the pestilence when he brought them out the first time? He said he's going to deliver you from the noisome pestilence. Go ahead, read on.
He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust.
Go ahead.
His truth shall be thy shield and buckler.
That's what's going to be your shield and buckler, his truth. You know, if you're in the word and you walking in it, then the Lord will protect you. And if you are not, don't expect the Lord to take you to this place, to this secret place, and protect you there. Go ahead and read on.
Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night, nor for the arrow that flieth by day.
It's a lot of terror that's going to be going on around you, just like it was with Israel, right? He said, but you don't have to be afraid of the terror by night or the arrow that flieth by night. Go ahead and read on.
Nor for the pestilence.
Nor for the pestilence. Go ahead and read.
That walketh in darkness. Nor for the destruction that wasteth at noonday.
Go ahead.
1,000 shall fall at thy side, and 10,000 at thy right hand, but it shall not come nigh to thee.
Now he said, all these going to happen all around you, but it will not come near you. Then when the Lord poured out all them plagues, wasn't these plagues all around Israel, but then none of them come near, did it?
Right.
You know, he sent the light. That didn't come near. You know, the darkness, that was light for Israel. You know, this is just, this was all pointing, all them things that was happening, it was just pointing to the future even. Go ahead and read on.
Only with thy eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked.
Go ahead and read.
Because thou hast made the Lord, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling.
Did any of them plagues come near Israel's dwelling? He said all these things befell them, and now the Lord said in these days, when he take the church to the wilderness, all these things will happen, but ain't no plague gonna come near them. Go ahead and read on.
For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways.
See what he said, I'm going to give my angels charge, going to keep you in all your ways. And when that angel speak, you best obey. Let's go now to Revelation chapter 12. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. Revelation 12, and we'll begin reading at verse 1. 12 and 1. 12 and 1. Lord is doing everything just as he did it in the past. 12 and 1. Okay, go ahead and read.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven. A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet.
Go ahead.
And upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Now we coming back here, but let's go over to Genesis chapter 37. And we're going to pick it up at verse 9. This is really the church here. But we're going to go and we're going to show you. Let's go to Genesis 37, and we're going to pick it up at verse 9. 37 and 9. Genesis 37, and we'll begin reading at verse 9. 37 and 9. This is Joseph here, one of the 12 sons out of which the nation of Israel came from, because they came out of 12 tribes, and 12 tribes came out of 12 sons. And this is Joseph. And he was always having dreams, and he had this dream. And we're going to get the dream, and we're going to get the interpretation of it as well. Let's go to Psalms 37 and verse 9. 37 and 9. Go ahead and read. Did I say Psalm? I'm sorry, Genesis 37 and verse 9. 37 and 9. Go ahead and read.
And he dreamed yet another dream, and told it his brother, and said,
Go ahead.
Behold, I have dreamed a dream more, and behold, the sun and the moon and the 11 stars made obeisance to me.
So now Joseph here is talking about the sun and the moon, and he said 11 stars, right? But what we read in Revelation was the 12 stars. Now these stars, they represent his brothers, and he would have made the 12th one.
That's right.
So now he said, and they made obeisance unto me. Go ahead and read on.
And he told it to his father and to his brethren. And his father rebuked him.
Now he told it to his father and his brothers, and they rebuked him. Go ahead and read.
And said unto him, What is this dream that thou hast dreamed?
Now he said, what is this dream that thou hast dreamed? Go ahead and read on.
Shall I and thy mother and thy brother indeed come to bow down ourselves to thee to the earth?
He said, I, which is the sun, and thy mother, which is the moon, and thy brother and the 11 stars, and he would have made the 12th one.
That's right.
Shall they read the rest of that? Shall I and thy mother and thy brother indeed come and bow down ourselves to thee? Go ahead and read on.
Verse 11. And his brethren envied him, But his father observed the same.
So now, I just want you to understand who this is. This is Israel that we are dealing with. Let's go back now to Revelation chapter 12, and we're going to read that first verse again. Then we're going to skip down to verse 6. Revelation chapter 12. Read that first verse again. Then we'll skip down to verse 6. So now that we understand who it is that we are reading about here. Go ahead and read.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Now who is this? Who does this woman represent? This woman represents Israel, who is the church. That is who this woman represents. Now I'm going to show you what was to happen to the church. Skip down to verse 6 now. Go ahead and read.
And the woman fled into the wilderness.
Notice what it said. And the woman fled into, this is end time stuff we're reading about, by the way. He said, and the woman fled into the wilderness. Go ahead and read.
But she have a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days.
Well, she will be fed there 3.5 years, in other words. You know, like the Lord fed Israel there in the wilderness. So now, he's going to feed the church there in the wilderness, because that is who it is we are dealing with. Skip down now to verse 13 and continue to read.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle.
And to the woman was given what? 2 wings of a great... How did the Lord say he delivered Israel? Didn't he say I did it on eagle wings?
Yes, sir.
So now, he said now to the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle. Go ahead and read on.
That she might fly into the wilderness, enter her place, where she is nourished for a time.
Time equal to 1 year. Go ahead and read.
And times, and a half a time, from the face of the serpent.
Where she is nourished, it said, during them 3.5 years, in other words. This time that the church is in the wilderness. What verse are we?
15.
Go ahead and read it.
And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood.
When Israel was delivered, didn't Pharaoh try to stop them from being delivered?
Yes, sir.
But what did the Lord do? Didn't he part the Red Sea so they were able to go over dry shod?
Yes, sir.
Well, look at when the church is being pursued by Satan. Look at what the Lord did. Go ahead and read on.
And the earth helped the woman.
And the earth helped the woman, it said. Go ahead and read on.
And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Now, so now, just as the Lord delivered Israel, that's the same way he is going to deliver the church. Let's go now to Jeremiah chapter 31, and we'll begin reading at verse 1. 31, and we'll pick it up at 1. 31 and 1. So now you got Israel in the wilderness. You got the church in the wilderness. That is where the church is. Let's go to Jeremiah 31, and we'll begin reading at verse 1. 31 and 1. 31 and 1. Okay, go ahead and read.
At the same time, saith the Lord, will I be the God of all the families of Israel, and they should be my people.
Now the Lord said, at this time, I'm going to be a God to all the families of Israel. And this dealing with when the Lord returned and when he bring them out of the wilderness, when he go into the wilderness and deal with them there and bring them out of the wilderness and bring them into the land. Go ahead and read on.
Thus saith the Lord, the people which were left of the sword found grace in the wilderness.
So you know the Lord had the Persian there in the wilderness, didn't he?
Yes, sir.
Then those that was left of the sword, they found grace in the wilderness. Go ahead and read on.
Even Israel, when I went to cause him to rest.
Even Israel, he said, when he went to cause them to rest. And I'm going to show you what this rest is. Go ahead and read a little bit more.
The Lord have appeared of old unto me, saying, Yea, I have loved thee with an everlasting love.
Go ahead.
Therefore with loving kindness have I drawn thee. Again I will build thee, and thou shalt be built, O virgin of Israel. Thou shalt again be adorned with my tabrets.
Go ahead.
And go forth to the dances of them that make merry. Thou shalt yet plant vines upon the mountains of Samaria. The planted shall